solve this data sufficiency question, we'll consider each statement separately first and then together if needed. Before diving into the statements, let's take a look at what the question is actually asking us. We're asked is n between -1 and 3 on the number line. So we definitely want to get a visual of what's going on and what we're asked for, because it's easier to kind of have a visual as we're working through. So on a number line, we have -1, 2, 3, and we want n to be somewhere in between here. We're definitely not going to include the endpoints here because it has to be somewhere between. So somewhere in this orange range. And we're asked whether it's in there or not. So we don't necessarily need it to be in there, but we need to be able to answer a yes or no. Yes, it's in here, or no, it's definitely not in there. So when we're going through, we're looking for whether we can answer that or not. So statement 1 tells us n is to the left of 2 on the number line. So let's go ahead and let's draw a number line for this statement. And let's put +2 on here. And we know that n is to the left of 2. Now, if we're trying to compare and say whether n's going to be in this range or not, this range, -1 to 3, shows up somewhere in here. And just to kind of highlight that in orange again. Now, being told n is to the left of 2 only means, well, essentially means a couple different things. N could definitely be in that orange kind of between -1 and 3. If n is, say, 0 or 1. And those are definitely possible if n is to the left of 2. But n could also be somewhere over here, like -2 or -5, -100. We have no idea. So since we don't really know whether it's kind of to the left or right of -1 here, that's not enough information to conclude a yes or no definitive answer to our question. So this statement alone is not sufficient since we can't conclude yes, it's in this range or no, it's not in this range. It depends on where n is. So this statement alone is not sufficient. We can eliminate answer choice A and D, meaning we have to go ahead and check statement 2. So statement 2 is going to work in a similar manner. We're told that n is to the right of 0 on a number line. So on a number line, let's go ahead and draw another one. We have 0. And we're told that n is somewhere to the right. So it's somewhere over here. Now let's kind of put our orange markers on here to look at what we're looking for. -1 as our bottom bound to +3 on our top bound. And let's just highlight that in orange again. Again, just for kind of a visual as we're going through. We actually run into the exact same type of issue that we did for statement 1. We're told that n is to the right of 0, so n could be somewhere in this orange portion, which the answer to the question would then be yes, so n could be like 1. Or n could be, say, 4, and the answer to the question would be no, it's not in that range. So this statement alone is not sufficient, similar to statement 1. So we can eliminate answer choice B, and we're going to need to combine the two statements. Combining the two statements actually gives us a more restrictive number line here. So I'm just going to draw a new number line, and we need to draw the section for which these two number lines from our statements 1 and 2 actually overlap, and that would be the range that we're talking about here. Now, we know that n from statement 1 has to be less than 2, and then n has to be greater than 0. So we're somewhere in between 0 and 2 according to statements 1 and 2. So somewhere between 0 and 2. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit for some more space so we can kind of get this visual. Statement 1 said, just to recall, n is this way. Statement 2 said n is this way. So where they overlap is the portion that we're taking. So n is somewhere between here according to our statements. Now if we take a look at the question, we're asked is n between -1 and 3. So -1 lies over here and 3 lies over here. And so our orange portion would actually span all of this. And we can definitely answer that yes, n is going to be somewhere in between -1 and 3 if it has to be between 0 and 2. So the answer to this question would be yes, and both of the statements together would definitely be sufficient. So our final answer choice would be choice C. Both statements together are sufficient, but neither statement alone is sufficient, and we can eliminate answer choice E.